What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to Luttie's Look Back, episode 19. My name is Nick Luttrell. We've got a very special show today. For the first time, we will have a guest on the show. Little Rock Basketball's Mwani Wilkinson will join me later on the show, so make sure to stick around and watch that coming up later in the show. But right now, we'll begin with the Razorbacks. They got a decent win on Wednesday night, and then Saturday night they fell in a heartbreaker to Oklahoma, 65-62. My three big things. Number one, the energy and the effort was there, and that was something that it's been lacking for a good part of this season, especially those first few SEC games when and I'm sure you were really worried about this team. Like, do they want to even be here? Do they care about that Razorback on their jersey? And it didn't seem like that in the early going, at least in SEC play for this Arkansas team. But in this game in particular, I felt like there was effort there. There was a lot of effort, and there was energy. And, they didn't get the win. I understand that. And it is kind of weird probably for me to start off with a little bit of a positive note, knowing me as much of I'm an optimist and a pessimist at the same time. But I tend to be more of a pessimist lately on this basketball team. But I'm starting with an optimistic viewpoint because I saw that thing I wanted to see there that I talked about a few weeks ago when DJ Wagner dunked the ball, and that was the only energy play they got out of the game against, I think it was Florida. That was the only energy play they got in that entire game. In this game, there was energy plays all around. So I appreciated that. Yes, they did lose, but the energy was there. Adu Thiero played his heart out. DJ Wagner brought the energy, as he always does. I kind of sense that Wagner might be that guy who's going to be him and Thiero are going to be those energy players for this team, and they need to step up, and they've taken that step, especially Wagner with Boogie Flan now being out. And I think this is the first show we've had since we got the relatively official news that Boogie Flan will be out for this season with his thumb/wrist injury, which is rough for this team that was already not playing good. And then they won without him, and then, of course, this past weekend they lost without him as well. But anyway, DJ Wagner is the guy who is going to be kind of filling that role as the point guard for this team. And he took a step in this game. I don't think he took as big of a step that he needed to take, but I think he is well on his way. So the energy and the effort was there. My second point, again, more to the pessimist side of how I feel about this team. Is Jonas Aidoo any good? Is he good at basketball? He may be good, but is he great? He was supposed to be great. I don't know his transfer portal rankings, but I know that last year at Tennessee, he was first team All-SEC. He was one of the best players in the conference last season. And now he comes to the Razorbacks this year, and he's just like, okay, I understand he was hurt for a little bit of the season, but he should be through that by now. He hasn't been listed on the injury report. He doesn't look that hurt. He just looks kind of slow and kind of weak, which is not what you would expect based off of how good he was last year at Tennessee. For him to be with the Razorbacks now and not be playing good basketball, it doesn't make any sense. That makes me question the development of John Calipari as the head coach, which I shouldn't have to question. He's John Calipari. He's a Hall of Fame coach. But Aidoo is just not playing good. That's their big man that Arkansas needs to get going. And when Cal was asked about this after the game, someone asked, is he hurt? What's going on? He was like, no, he's not hurt. And Aidoo only played 9 minutes. I think he played maybe the first 9 minutes. He didn't play the entire second half. Once Big Z started to play good, and this is kind of what Cal said, Z was playing good, and so they played him. He wanted a rim protector, which I get that. He's 7'2", 7'3", so I get that you want Big Z in there. But I would have thought at some point, maybe try Aidoo and Z in there at the same time just to get him going. Just to get the guy going, he's got to have. He has very small glimpses of skill, and I don't know if we're ever going to see that Jonas Aidoo that we expected for this Arkansas team. That's my point number two. Is he good? Maybe not. I don't know. The third one is kind of just sad. It's that Oklahoma is just better than Arkansas, which is a weird thing to say because Oklahoma is a Big 12 team. They're in the SEC now, but their players are Big 12 players. Arkansas, their head coach, his name is John Calipari. The conference that they play in, the Southeastern Conference, that this year is the best conference in college basketball. And I understand the Big 12, I don't want to say any disrespect to the Big 12 in basketball in years past, The SEC is definitely the best conference this year. The Big 12 is not as good. In the past, the Big 12 has been good. But Oklahoma in and of itself hasn't been a good college basketball program. They've had a couple players here and there, like a Trae Young who's in the NBA or a Buddy Hield. And they've had some good seasons here or there, but they're not like a great basketball program like Arkansas has been the past like 5 years with Eric Musselman. And so it's just weird that when I watch this game, Oklahoma was better than Arkansas. And I think the better team won. Again, it's just weird to say because Arkansas, they have Coach Cal. They have a lot of good players. They just still haven't put it together yet. They have the injuries. That also is affecting them. And I know last week I talked about no excuses, but it is an excuse. And I'm just going to throw it out there because I know you guys are looking for excuses for me to talk about. It's an excuse. Sometimes it's valid, sometimes it's not. In this game, it became a little bit more pertinent, a little bit more valued because Big Z all of a sudden started holding his shoulder. Carter Knox went down with an injury. They both came back in this game, but you can't tell me that they were 100% in this game. So that's my big three things I have in this game, some of my thoughts. Let's hear from the guy I keep on hyping up, John Calipari. Here's what he had to say after the game.
If you were in the shoot-around, we talked about tough twos. We're not giving up threes. And then we start the game, and all of a sudden they got 7 threes. At halftime, those kids played, and they made no threes. Now, we fouled 2 3-point shooters. And I have to watch the tape, but I imagine they did foul or they wouldn't have called them. Execution down the stretch, we did some good stuff, maybe didn't finish it off. But there's a hard-fought game. Had our chances again.
Yeah, and Cal just mentioned it right there. They fouled on back-to-back possessions. They fouled a 3-point shooter, and they made all three of each of their free throws, whatever. Arkansas was up 6 points. It was the largest lead of this game. It was probably towards the middle part, I would say, of the second half. They were up 6. Big Z hit a 3-pointer to put them up 6. And then back-to-back possessions on the defensive end, they foul 3-point shooters, and then the game is tied within a minute of each other. The game is tied because of that. So it's frustrating. These little things that Arkansas has to do right, they're not doing right. And again, it's frustrating for them to continually make these mistakes and not improve. Improving this much, but you need to improve this much against really good competition. And Oklahoma's not even that good. They'll barely make the tournament as it stands right now. And Arkansas is going to have quite the time trying to play the other teams that are really good this year, like an at Kentucky, which is their next game, by the way, or an at Auburn. That could get ugly. That could get Arkansas women's basketball ugly, which we'll talk about later. A 30-point loss. But we'll have to see how that goes. Quickly on this game as well, John L. Davis led the team with 18 points. You might look at that and say, John L. Davis, he's back. He scored 18 points. That's good for Arkansas. But you look at the box score, you watch this game, did he play good? I'm saying no. You can't convince me that John L. Davis played good in this game. Statistically speaking, he made 3 3-pointers. Great. 3 3-pointers. That's awesome. Good job, Nelly. You're the number one transfer. You made 3. He shot 11. He was 3 for 11 from beyond the arc. So statistically speaking, as far as percentage goes, he didn't shoot very high percentage from beyond the arc. And a lot of his shots, he just shot a lot of threes. He shot a lot of threes. He only made 3 out of the 11. And he led the team in scoring, yes. He made some free throws. Arkansas did do good on the free throw line. But it wasn't efficient. That's the word. It wasn't efficient for Nelly Davis, and that's a problem. And for this team as a whole, I don't know if people thought the win on Wednesday night against Georgia, I don't know if they thought that was a turning point. But to be honest, I didn't. I didn't think that was a turning point. It was a win. It was their first SEC win against a mid-Georgia team. And I never for one second thought, hey, I thought there's this much of hope now that we've taken down Georgia and won an SEC game. But I never thought this was a season-changing win and Arkansas is right back on track. I never thought that. And so it kind of adds up that they lose this game to Oklahoma. And it was a tough one. I will be honest. It was a heartbreaker. Probably listening to me talk about it is hurting a little bit right now. So I'm going to stop. And I'm going to talk about something a little bit more positive. Not the Razorbacks, but the Red Wolves. Arkansas State, they wrapped up their 4-game homestand over the weekend with yet another win, 80-65 over Texas State. It was a close first half. The Red Wolves didn't look good at times. They had some uncharacteristic turnovers, as Hodgson we'll talk about in a second. Then they kind of used a big early run in the second half to dominate Texas State. And it was really fun watching this game. And it's fun watching Arkansas State when they play well because they shoot a lot of three-pointers. And that's fun, right? Especially when they make the three-pointers like they did for some of the time in this game. That's a really fun team. Now, when they miss all those three-pointers, not as fun. But for a decent amount of this season, they've made a lot of those three-pointers. They're number one in the conference in three-pointers attempted. They're about midway through their conference in as far as percentage making those. So again, maybe not best percentage, but they shoot a lot of three-pointers. And it's two players in particular that you see behind me, Darian Ford and Joseph Pinion, two guys that are former Hogs now playing for the Red Wolves that Arkansas maybe wish they had right now. Pinion and Ford, and shout out to Ford. I mean, this guy he's had some rough games this year. This was his season high, 19 points, 4 3-pointers, 4 of 7. That's a better percentage. Hey, Nelly Davis, you want to shoot 4 of 7 from beyond the arc? Darian Ford is doing it with Arkansas State. Now, he's playing in the Sun Belt, I understand that. But I bet you if you put Nelly Davis on the Arkansas State team, I bet he doesn't go 4 for 7. Give me Darian Ford any day of the week, right now. Now, that might change in the future. But Darian Ford played good in this game. 4 for 7 from beyond the arc. Joseph Pinion, 4 for 8, 17 points. This team is playing good right now. If you need a team, if you're tired of following the Razorbacks and you need a team to follow as far as men's basketball is concerned, all these other teams I'm going to talk about are playing pretty good except for UCA. Little Rock, A-State, they're playing really good right now. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. So why don't you get on the bandwagon? It's open. They have open seats on the bandwagon for Arkansas State. Come join the bandwagon for the Red Wolves. They're playing good right now. They had their fifth win in a row. They're in first place in their conference. Now, what do they have to do? They probably have to win their conference tournament to make it to March Madness. That's saying a lot. That means not only do you have to do good the rest of the season, you got to do good in March. That's how you make it to March Madness, and then you never know. Run the table in March Madness. Upset someone. Arkansas State might make it to March Madness, the NCAA basketball tournament. Arkansas Razorbacks might not, which is a very interesting thing that I don't think I would have thought I would have been saying back in October, but here we are. So Arkansas State with a really nice win. Once again, reminder here, coming up in a few minutes, I'm going to sit down or stand up, I guess, with Mwani Wilkinson and talk with him about Little Rock, so we'll skip over them. But before we talk about Little Rock, we'll finish up with talking about Arkansas State. Here's what their head coach had to say after the game.
Fantastic win against a really good, well-coached, tough Texas State team. I thought that we came out a little bit flat in the first half on both sides of the ball. I'm not sure what the reason was, other than just playing a big-time game the other night that came down to the wire. But I thought we responded. We were, I believe, a .89 points per possession on the defensive end, which is elite. Probably move our defense in somewhere in the top 65 to 70 in the country, and back, towards the top of the Sun Belt. I thought, we still got to clean things up on the glass as we continue here down the stretch. But again, and it's really hard to win Sun Belt Conference games, home or away, and you've got to win all your home games to give yourself a shot.
All right, so nice win for the Red Wolves. Once again, coming up in about 10 minutes, we will talk with Mwani Wilkinson of Little Rock basketball to talk about the success that they've had this season, talk about winning streaks. They have been doing really well. But before we do that, we got to catch up on some other scores from around the weekend. We'll first start with UCA. The Bears lose their 6th straight, probably as far as all the teams that we cover, men's and women's hoops right now, besides UAPB, they're probably struggling the most right now. That doesn't mean they're the worst team. I think they still have a decent team, but they've been plagued by injuries, kind of like Little Rock. But UCA, and probably the biggest injury of all, Lane Taylor, didn't play in this game. And there's reports that he might not be back the rest of the season. We're still working to confirm that. But Lane Taylor, he's been their go-to dominant freshman this season for the Bears. And to not have him, that certainly affected this game. I don't know if they would have won, but they might have kind of made that run they needed to make in this game to win it, because they were in this game. They were within 5, I think, at halftime, and then kind of within striking distance, but never had that run to get past Lipscomb. And it's a good Lipscomb team. It's a team that was picked to win the conference to begin the season, I believe. A team that played Arkansas earlier in the year, but a team that UCA just had really no shot against. But bright points in this game, they had some guys step up that you maybe don't hear about as much. Elias Cato, 17 points for the big man for UCA. Cole McCormick, another freshman who can really shoot good. This team shoots a lot of three-pointers, doesn't make a lot. But Cole McCormick, 13 points, and then Braden Fagbemi also had 12 points. I talked about three-point percentage. I talked about it with Nellie Davis with the Razorbacks. I talked about it with Joseph Pinion and Darian Ford. Nellie Davis, not good percentage. Joseph Pinion and Ford, really good percentage. Fagbemi, not good percentage, probably worse, actually definitely worse math than Nellie Davis, 2 for 12, excuse me, from beyond the arc. So not a good day for Fagbemi as far as shooting the ball. But again, this UCA team has good players. They have some good elements. They're struggling right now. They're struggling, and the injuries certainly have helped. So they now fall to 1-7 in A-Sun play. So that is some men's basketball talk. Before we get to Mwani Wilkinson, we will talk some women's basketball. It's on this paper that I'm already looking at. Moving on to Arkansas women, they go on the road and suffer a 20-point loss, 89-69, falling to number 11 Kentucky. They were 25.5-point underdogs in this game and only lost by 20. So great teams win, good teams cover. Arkansas did cover in this game. They were never really in this game. Kentucky was up 29-10 at the end of the first quarter, and that was kind of it. After that, I don't think many expected Arkansas to win this game. Obviously, they were 25.5-point underdogs. But again, once again, a bright spot, Izzy Higginbottom, and she's time and time again, except for last week. I will admit, last week she didn't have the game that she needed to have in Arkansas to get the win. In this game, she did. She did have a really good game. She shot the ball a lot, but they need her to shoot. And I think she's still, if she's not first in the SEC in points per game, she's got to be in the top 5. She had 32 points in this game, which is pretty impressive, especially when you're going against a team that knows you're the best player on Arkansas's team. You're maybe the only good player on Arkansas's team, and she still can rattle off 32 points. So really good job for her. But once again, a tough loss to a pretty good Kentucky team. Defensive issues really struggled for this Razorback team, and then they were out-rebounded by 14. So lots of struggles with this Razorback team. Let's hear what head coach Mike Neighbors had to say after the game.
But we're struggling a little bit because of the schedule we put together. Not we, sorry. Let me tell you, I try to say we when it's positive and I when it's negative. I put the schedule together. Put it together 2 years ago thinking we had a little different team. And we've played non-conference, some of the tops of leagues, and we kind of got our head down, our confidence shaken. And then we get the SEC schedule, and it's like we got. And it's hard this year. Everybody in the league's good. So we're better than our record. Everybody always says you are what your record is. I'll buy you a bourbon sometime and let's have that discussion. You are not who your record is. You're who your schedule is. And we've played some really good teams, and Kentucky's one of them.
All right, so Razorbacks drop another game to the Wildcats. They just still have one win on the season in the SEC. Not last, though. Mizzou, women's basketball, they have 0 wins in the SEC. So Arkansas and Mizzou, they play each other towards the end of the season. So that'll be fun to see who can, not get last place in the SEC. But that's enough talk for the Razorbacks. How about a team that is winning right now? That is Arkansas State. They have won 8 games in a row over the weekend. They take down South Alabama 82-71. A little too close for comfort at times, especially with an South Alabama team that is winless on the year in the Sun Belt Conference. But it was a stretch where late in the third quarter, Arkansas State went on an 18-0 run to end the third quarter and to begin about the last minute of the third quarter in the first half of the fourth quarter. They went on an 18-0 run, and that's kind of what led them to win this game. And throughout the course of this year for the Red Wolf women, it's been defense. They've hung their hat on defense. And that's kind of what struggled with them a little bit in this game. And it feels weird to say because statistically, they turned USA over 23 times, and they had 12 steals, which is really good. I think a lot of those big defensive I think a lot of those good things defensively for Arkansas State came in the fourth quarter when they went on that run and they started to turn over South Alabama and eventually went on to win the game. Zion Shannon, the leading scorer for A-State, 14 points and 3 steals. So the Red Wolf women, they're now in sole possession of second place in the Sun Belt Conference. Only team ahead of them, James Madison, who I don't think Arkansas State plays this year. It's weird. I looked at the schedule. I don't think they play him at all this year. Either they've already played him or they don't play him at all, unless I'm just blind. So if I'm wrong on that, please call me out. Let me know. But I don't think they play JMU, which is the top team in their conference right now. So Arkansas State needs to keep winning. They've got 6 home games in a row coming up. So if you want to look at continuing that 8-game winning streak, that 8-game winning streak could certainly turn into a lot longer of a winning streak. 6 home games in a row after this one over the weekend. And they've only lost once at home this week, or only lost at once at home this season. So they got to keep up the good work. They got to get these wins at home and then put themselves in a good position when conference tournament play comes around in 6 weeks or so. So that is Arkansas State. Let's move on to another team, Little Rock women's basketball. They were on a winning streak for a little bit. They won 4 in a row, 4 or 5 in a row, and now they've lost 2 out of their last 3 over the weekend. They fall, man, in a heartbreaker to Lindenwood, 70-68. They trailed most of this game. They only led it for a few seconds, and it was the seconds kind of towards the end of the game. It was a really crazy sequence. They were actually down 9 early in the 4th quarter. Then they made a little run. The last minute of it was heartbreaking, intense. I don't know what word. If you're just an average college basketball fan, it was an intense, fun basketball game to watch. And it was fun if you were a Little Rock fan for a little bit. But then, the heartbreak happens, and they basically lose on a buzzer beater is what happened. They scored a free throw to tie the game with with about a minute left. With 5 seconds left, I'm trying to look at my notes here. With about 5 seconds left, tied the ball game up. Jordan Holman had a great game, 27 points, a career high, but she misses one of the free throws that maybe could have given them the win. I guess in the end it might not have been a win, but it would have given them the lead at that time. She misses one of them, makes the other. The ball game's tied. Lindenwood makes a shot with about half a second left that looked like a buzzer beater at first, and then Little Rock has some time left. Faith Lee has a chance at the end, and then just misses a jumper, her signature jumper, the Faith Lee jumper, but just misses it. She also had a good game, 10 or 11 points for her. But Jordan Holman still had a really good game. I mentioned she missed that free throw at the end, but may not have mattered if Lindenwood just put up a crazy shot basically to win this game. Little Rock, tough one for them. They're now 3rd in the standings in the OVC, and now Lindenwood moves basically above them, sitting at 2nd place in the OVC. So still lots of basketball to play, but hopefully this Little Rock team can get back on track soon. Once again, we'll talk with Mwani Wilkinson here in a few minutes. Before that, we'll talk about UCA women's basketball. Talk about win streaks. A-State women won their 8th in a row. UCA women won their 6th in a row. This was a very tight one. Almost got on the wrong end of a buzzer beater, kind of like Little Rock did, but they got on the right end of a buzzer beater, taking down Austin Peay 51-50. UCA led most of the first half. It was kind of a close second half, and then kind of at the end was when Austin Peay had a shot. They missed the shot. I don't even know if it counted. I don't think it counted. It was a buzzer beater that could have been, but she didn't get the shot up in time, so UCA kind of hangs on and wins the game. Again, they're trending in the right direction at the right time, which is what you want to see with a lot of these teams. UCA definitely in that regard. I talked about Bree Stevens and how good she was, or how good she's been this season, kind of that all-around facilitator, can rebound, can shoot, can pass. She's got everything. She's a great player for this team, and it showed a little bit in this game. She led the team with 15 points and 9 rebounds. Jade Upshaw added 12 points and 6 rebounds. Speaking of rebounds, the Sugar Bears outscored the Governors by 12 in this game. So rebounding certainly helped them in this game. Again, as they're 6th in a row, they are now alone in 2nd place in the ASUN as far as standings go. So that is a look at UCA women's basketball. Let's move on now to UAPB. Another tough weekend for the Golden Lions. They fall in this one. Actually, both teams, I should say, fall still winless in the SWAC. So tough to see UAPB struggling. The men I've definitely watched a little bit more than the women, and they have some good players on the team, but certainly struggling again against a much better Southern team. Both of those teams are obviously toward the top of the standings in the SWAC. The men fall 83-67. The women fall 52-36. So tough look for both of the UAPB teams over the weekend. You probably realize we haven't talked about Little Rock men's basketball yet. They, over the weekend, took down Lindenwood 78-46. It's now 5 in a row for the Trojans. We've got a special guest on my show for the first time ever, senior Mwani Wilkinson. And Mwani, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, just talk to me about first about this game against Lindenwood, a big game as far as the margin of victory for your team. 19 points, 13 rebounds for you. What went well for you guys in this game?
I would say our effort. We had a lot of effort defensively, and that's how we were able to hold them to, I think it was like 46 points or something like that. And also just, I felt like the game yesterday was a game where things just started to click more for us, and just as that happens more and more down the season, we just continue to get better and better and better.
Yeah, you guys are certainly getting much better as the season goes on, 5 in a row now, as I mentioned. Another player that has played so well for your team is Jonathan Lawson. And I feel like when the two of you are connecting, shooting well, passing the ball to one another, things just work well for your team. Talk about the relationship that you guys share.
Me and JL enjoy playing with each other, and we also understand the importance of our role on the team. So whenever he's not hitting his shots or whenever I'm not hitting my shots, we just always encourage each other to, stay aggressive and just be a good teammate for each other and be good leaders for our team.
Yeah, for sure. And let's kind of talk about the season as a whole for you guys. Maybe not the best of starts to begin the year. And as you mentioned, you kind of guys are hitting your stride right now with 5 in a row. Talk to me about the course of the season and what kind of the challenge has been like for your team.
Every season is a long season, and teams always go through a lot of adversity. So I'd say for us is just injuries. We dealt with a lot of adversity through injuries, and just the season didn't go as planned for a lot of us. So it was just getting adjusted to the new wave of how things are expected to be without certain players. So.
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned a couple of those players, one being a Creed Williamson that is now kind of back playing with you guys. KK Robinson's still out for you guys. But how much of a role do you feel like you have taken on this team now that some of those guys are originally going to be really good players for you guys, haven't been able to get the minutes because of injuries, but how much has that forced you to step up and be a great player for this team?
I definitely feel like it's increased my role offensively and defensively. I would say that, it sucks to be missing teammates and have teammates out with injuries, but it's also a blessing for whoever is available, because it's more opportunity for us on the court. So just as long as all of us take advantage of the time that we get on the court, we'll be good.
Yeah, I've got one more question for you. Before I get to that final question, I want to ask kind of a personal question. You spent your first 4 years at LSU with the Tigers, and now obviously you're transferred in here at Little Rock. What made you decide to come to Little Rock and play for Coach Walker's team?
When I came on my visit to Little Rock, Coach Baker and Coach Walker just were very blunt about the vision that they had for me, and I was able to see it, and I think it was an easy decision for me to make, simply because I just wanted to be on the court, and I like the blueprint that the coaches laid out for me when they were recruiting me. So yeah, that played a huge part in me coming here to Little Rock.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you've been doing really good. It's been fun to watch you this season. And lastly, kind of looking at the season as a whole, big picture looking forward, what do you feel like you guys need to do better or continue doing well to get to a point where, you win the conference, you win the conference tournament, you're on your way to the NCAA tournament?
Is just continue to take the season day by day, game by game, practice by practice, just get better every day, and keep the main thing, trying to win our conference and make it to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and Mwani Wilkinson, everyone here on Luttie's Look Back. And Mwani, thanks so much for joining the show, and good luck the rest of the season, man.
Thank you.
All right, to the NFL now, the AFC Championship. The Chiefs do it again. A 32-29 win over the Buffalo Bills. Kansas City headed to their third straight Super Bowl. This was a bit of a crazy game if you guys watched it here on THV 11. A really crazy one in which the Chiefs they did what they've done all season long, and that's win close games. So now they will try to be the first team in history of the National Football League to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. So they'll face off against the Eagles in the Super Bowl. It'll be a rematch from 2 years ago between Kansas City and Philadelphia. So that's some NFL scores. Now we'll finish up my show with a few other Razorback notes, and we got to talk about the Arkansas gymnastics team. The Gymbacks upset number 2 LSU, the defending national champs. This is on Friday night. Gymbacks upset LSU on Friday night inside Bud Walton Arena. It was a great atmosphere. It was a match, a game in which there was nearly 10,000 fans inside Bud Walton. So for a gymnastics meet, that is really impressive, and they set a new student record of 1,700 students at the Gymbacks meet as well. So really cool there. Jocelyn Robertson, again, having a really good meet for this Arkansas team. She won the all-around individual title. I think they've had 4 meets this season, or 4 opponents. She's won every single all-around individual except for one of them. So she is doing really good. She's a freshman to start the year. Of course, she was on the Olympic team, so we know she's really good. She'll probably be on the Olympic team again here in 3.5 years. So she's a really special player that I'm sure Arkansas is very, very glad to have. So let's look at some other Arkansas athletics throughout the weekend of looking back. We'll end my show how we always do and look ahead to the future. Arkansas men's basketball facing off against Kentucky Saturday night, Rupp Arena on ESPN. Look, I know it's not as big of a game as we thought it might be. We thought both of these teams would be top 25, and they're not. But still, it's John Calipari's return to Rupp Arena to Lexington, Kentucky. It's going to draw a lot of viewers. It's going to draw a lot of eyes. For Arkansas, it'd be nice for them to get a win. Probably won't happen. But the good thing is they don't have a midweek game, so they have 6 days. 6 days to prepare for a really good Kentucky team. If there's any team that John Calipari would want to beat, I'm going to guess it's the team in blue and the Kentucky Wildcats. So that's my Luttie's look ahead. And that's going to do it for Luttie's Look Back, episode 19. This was a fun show. Thanks so much to everyone for watching. Thanks so much to Mwani Wilkinson for joining the show. I think about once a month we'll try to bring an athlete on here and tell you how good they did in the past weekend of sports and throughout the month of sports, whether it's Little Rock, UAPB, UCA, Arkansas State, or the Razorbacks, or maybe even high school. That's going to do it for Luttie's Look Back episode 19. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.